Hello everyone, I'm Silvia from Fairlight Tarot. Welcome to my channel. Today we're going to have a look at my 10 most beautiful decks, Tarot and Oracle, Indie and Mass Market. Let's see. As always, there's no particular order in which I'm showing you these decks. And there's something else that I'd like to say. I tend to change my mind. And sometimes I just have this love affair with the tarot deck, and it may go on for years, it may go on for months or weeks or even maybe just days, and then I may change my mind because a new deck arrives and I love that deck more. So I don't know what that says about me, but I do change my mind quite often. There are some forevers, let's call them like that, but I was thinking about doing a different VR for the forevers and forgotten. I think it's a VR to Boho Tarot or Domitian Tarot, so I will do that in a later video. But for today, we're just gonna have a look at what I think right now, at this moment in time, my 10 most beautiful tarot decks. And as I say in the intro, it's a bit of a mix between tarot decks and oracle decks, and also between independent publications and mass market publication. There's no reason for that. I didn't do it on purpose. It's just I literally just looked at all of my decks, and for several reasons, but mainly aesthetics reason, I chose these 10, which is actually 11 as usual. So let's start with Tarot Z. This is a special edition by Los Carabeo, and it's by Alejandro Colucci. By the way, apologies if you can hear the cicadas in the background. I had to open the door because my cat has just decided that he wants to go out now. But of course, when I opened the door, he just thought that he didn't want to go out anymore. So it's just, you know, if you have cats, you know what I mean. So this tarot deck, it's one of those decks that I love to use during darker months. The graphics are just really deliciously dark. It's an amazing deck, and the reason why I chose the the special edition, let's say it's a number edition, is because years ago I used to have the Murder Crows by Corrado Roy, was one of my favorite Italian illustrators. And the special edition, I only had the special edition, and it's got some splashes of red, so it's a black and white. If you don't know that, it's a really gorgeous black and white tarot with splashes of red to indicate, you know, possibly blood on the cards here and there. And because I didn't have the standard edition, I had no idea that was the reason why it was special. And also when I bought it, to be honest, there were a few special, available, so it hadn't become one of those sought after decks yet. And so I had the opportunity to swap it for a standard edition, which was, you know, fitting in my collection, because I have a few with that kind of box. And I know, I've been stupid. I should have done my research, but so that's what happened. And so when I saw that Tarot Z was also coming in a special edition, I thought, okay, this time I'm definitely gonna get the special edition, and I'm not gonna do the stupid thing about, you know, swapping it for the standard one. So this deck is here because it is just so dark, but in such a way that it brings me back to a kind of melancholic darkness. I don't know if you understand what I mean. It's Tarot Z is about zombies. It stands for zombies, as you can imagine, and it really sucks you into this kind of world in which everything is in decay. Everything is rotten, but then you have these cards like this is the World card, which is not, to be honest, one of my favorite cards. I mean, I understand the meaning of it, but because this is New Hope, obviously. But it's a bit creepy. I don't know, it creeps me out, the fact that because the rest of the deck has got some pretty manipulated kind of art, digital art. And this one is pure, it's just photography, so I don't know, it kind of creeps me out. But the rest of the deck is just, oh, look at this card. There is such a sense of powerful dignity in the zombies here that I've seen only in maybe one movie. I think World War Z portrayed zombies for the first time with that kind of I want to say pride. Obviously we're talking about a fictional characters, right? But look at this card. There's something very powerful about this deck. I do recommend, and I've said this before, I've seen, before purchasing this deck, I had a look at the walkthrough, and this lady did a walkthrough, and I'm sorry, I don't remember who it was, so it's not like I'm, you know, saying something negative, it's to each their own, but she was saying, I know how to read RWS, and to me this looks like an RWS, so I don't need to read the book. And I really felt for her. Back then I didn't know, otherwise I would have told her. I thought, oh, okay, fair enough. But, you know, I was looking at the deck, I was thinking, it doesn't really look really standard RWS to me, but perhaps she's right. Well, when I got it, I actually read the book, and yeah, okay, yes, of course, the meaning of the cards is, you know, it follows the RWS system, certainly not Thoth or the Marseille. But if you don't read the book, you're missing out on so much. Like, for example, why is this card, why is this character in the Nine of Cups? But in this case, the Nine of Cups, for example, tells you that zombies cannot process fat. And so, because their brain tells them they have that, the switch that human, non-zombie humans have, that stops, makes us want to stop whenever we're satiated, whenever we're full. Zombies don't have that mechanism, so they keep on, well, eating, and but they don't process fat, so it just bloats them up. And the meaning of the card is to take your part in the fulfillment, take in as much as you can, feel full. And I think it's wonderful. I think it's a great way to interpret this card. And I think it's a great thing to, you know, way to open up a dissertation on the zombies and the fact that they don't process food. That to me is just, it's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. So I really like the book. It's like that for each and every card. So that was a minor, as you can see. And obviously there's a bit more written for the majors. There you go. So this is the Death card, and this is the most hauntingly beautiful Death card that I've ever seen. The fact that the directionality is amazing. She to me it's a she, but obviously probably because I'm Italian, and in Italian we have gender in the words, and death is feminine. So to me, when I look at Death, it's a she. So she's looking out of the frame. She's almost outside of the frame. The fact that she's leaning forward means to me that there is so much motion in place here. There is so much, almost an evasion, almost it points to the kind of a transformation brought upon by the Death card that signifies moving on. And she's definitely moving on. She's almost tipping over so much into motion that she's almost exiting the card. But don't be fooled. I don't know if you can see, probably a bit better this way. So she is holding, and she's actually dragging, as a matter of fact, because if she is so much in motion, she's definitely dragging a person by their head. And there is so much finality in this card. It gives you this powerful sense of nothing is permanent, everything is transient, which is an aspect that really appeals to me in this card in particular. And I think that it's not just for this card that I chose this deck to be here today, but it is definitely one of the main reasons. So this is the Tarot Z by Alejandro Colucci. The next deck of the 10 most beautiful decks in my collection is the Tarot of the Abyss by Anatorian. I've talked about this deck before. It's definitely a beautiful work of art. I've seen a couple of posts lately on Anna's Instagram page, and I'm really sorry because she's really struggling with a lot of fake decks that now they're even selling them on Amazon. So some Amazon associate is selling them, which is really sad because, well, you know, I mean, fake decks, it's just stealing the intellectual property and the work of art of someone who's been sweating for years, you know, over these cards, and it's just awful. As a writer myself, I know how hard the creative process is and frustrating, and it takes years, and then you see someone else just stealing your idea. I think it feels like a violation. This deck, I mean, aesthetically, this is, well, there you go. It's one of the 10 most beautiful decks I have. I know that a lot of people see this deck and think, oh, I would really prefer this to be in color, and I have to be honest with you, at the beginning I thought so too, but then I started working with it, and then I noticed that there is some effects that is given by the shadowing. The line work is creating a lot of depth that's in these cards, and I don't see it as a black and white deck. To me, that's more, apart from the fact that it's not a true black and it's not a true white, but that's not the main reason why I don't see it as a black and white deck. I see it as a maybe, let's call it 50 shades of gray, no puns intended. There's several shades of gray that help the eye adjust to the various levels of the scene depicted. And there is so much passion, love, I would say, in every single line that goes into this deck. I mean, the Four of Wands, for example, look at the wands here. Look at the line work. It's amazing. And the flowers here. I mean, you must recognize that there's so much love that goes into the production of a deck like this. And this is not to say that the minimalists are not beautiful. I have some decks that are definitely minimalist and I adore them. But it's just that when you look at something like this, it blows my mind. And also because there's a few cards that remind me of classic paintings, and there's also many cards breaking the fourth wall. They look directly at you, and I think that's incredibly beautiful because they establish a conversation with you, they establish a bond. But also the way, for example, the Hanged Man or the Hanged One, let me just look for it. Okay, I finally found it. So the Hanged One is depicted taking the point of view of the Hanged One. So you are the Hanged One. And obviously you see everything upside down. And this is just amazing to me. And correct me if I'm wrong, I haven't seen it that often in any other decks. So it's just innovative, it's beautiful, it makes you think, it makes me click. It's just such an amazing deck to use, to read with. There's a few of my favorite cards here. Even the Eight of Cups is one of my favorite Eight of Cups. The way she just dumps the, she's tipping I think it's wine on the way out, but she's satisfied. She's serious, but she's satisfied. This is not a painful breakup. This is not a painful turning your shoulders to a situation that is broken. This is asserting your own powerful choices and not being afraid to step out. So I really love the way Anna is interpreting the cards. By the way, she's also great if you read numerologically. But let me just see how beautiful is this Ten of Pentacles. That is two hands holding each other. But if you look at the artwork, there's this family perhaps, you know, going up the steps towards the wholeness and the sense of fulfillment and the sense of finally reaching something. As I was saying, if you read numerologically, there you go. So you have the opportunity to choose between two different Ten of Swords and two different Three of Swords. And I really appreciate when an artist creates a deck that gives me the possibility to read that way. And this is one of my favorite tarot cards of all times. And it reminds me so much of a scene in that movie Lemony Snicket, I think it's called, A Series of Unfortunate Events. It's just that kind of precarious equilibrium, precarious balance that is just not there, because you know automatically that this house is not going to hold, right? But it's not depicted in the moment in which it's falling apart, that it's collapsing, it's falling down. It's right before that. And the reason why it's right before that, it's because it wants to show you what has happened so far that brought this situation up and what is going to happen. So I know I'm gushing, and this star card is just so beautiful. So this is the Tarot of the Abyss by Anna Torin. This next deck is the Blood Moon Tarot. This is the deluxe edition. My apologies. I used Sam Guy. Yeah, I know her name. I even subscribe to her newsletters. I just lost it for a moment there. So beautiful production of this deck. Absolutely gorgeous, fantastic cardstock. Not my favorite kind of gilding, but so far I haven't had any reason to complain about it. Doesn't hurt my fingers, doesn't chip that easily. Would have preferred a matte gold one, but that's just my personal opinion. This deck has got one of the most beautiful full cards I've ever seen, and the reason why I say that is because I've never seen a card, maybe the Bonestone and Earthflesh, but I've never seen a card that gives you such a strong sense of possibility, but not fear, but excitement, and the kind of excitement that is a little bit scary at the same time. It's this character here, which is tiny, and this door that is just a crack open, like it's not wide open, and it's just open. It looks like it's just open wide enough for this tiny character to go through. And it looks like what this character is leaving behind is kind of scary, you know, darkness. There's hands reaching out and stuff. So it's not necessarily, it's the stuff of nightmare rather than the stuff of dream, if you know what I mean. But there's green outside. I really love this full card. It's a beautiful deck. It's it brings you back to the love of art. And I think that it's really one of those rare decks that comes out every now and then that really makes you appreciate the work that goes behind producing something like that, drawing something like this. Apart from the symbology, of course, that's in play as well. Of course, I love to see the devil as a mirror. And the character is so enslaved to this mirror. It's not even, she not even looking at it. You see what I mean? Perhaps if they were looking, they will not feel disashamed, because perhaps reality is not as bad as they think. I love this interpretation of the devil. I'm a positive person. I try to be positive. Such a beautiful deck, full of juices of life, of powerful images. Beautiful color palette, differs from suit to suit. I would have loved to grab a copy of the book. I do have it in PDF because it was sent out. No, I actually paid for it. Yeah, it's okay. I don't mind. But I remember buying it from Sam's website, and I still have to print it out. I mean, I have so many things to do, but I would love to have like a nice hardcover copy, because this is the kind of deck that to me is just a really beautiful, work of art. So this is the Blood Moon Tarot by Sangrai. This is the Ghosts and Spirits Tarot by Lisa Hunt. It's a mass market deck published by US Games, and I think it's still being printed, so it's probably very easy to purchase. Now, the reason why this deck is here is, well, probably twofold. First of all, because it is a gorgeous deck. I love Lisa's work. It reminds me, her passion for details reminds me of Anna Toriel's passion for details. Not that they share the same type of art style, but it's just purely, when you look at the amount of work, I mean, they both spend hours, if not days, probably. Sorry, days, definitely days, on, coming up with all these details. And Lisa's art is amazing because, well, this deck, if you don't know this deck, it's about legends about ghosts and spirits. And I love the fact that in the guidebook, even though it's a small one, you can actually read about the card you pulled. So there is a little bit of an explanation of what that card is about. I love that. Thank you. But the combination of the artwork, the colors chosen, the choice of which legend to combine to each card, it's just amazing. And because they're all about ghosts and spirit, there is a kind of sadness. The majority of these, see the sad expression on the characters. The majority of these stories is a sad story. And these cards are just amazing for that. I mean, sometimes I use them for shadow work. I also, because they're ghosts and spirits legends, fairy tales, I also use them for inner child work. Although for inner child, I prefer to use her fairy tale tarot, which, by the way, I think I heard that it's going to be reprinted if you were looking for it. So these cards, the artwork in this card is just fantastic. So beautiful, full of life, ironically, because it's actually a ghost deck, but it's still full of that power of, of life, really. I wonder if this deck was immediately produced mass market, or if it came out in an indie edition, and if that one has a different kind of back. I don't know. If you know, please let me know in the comments. I'm really interested. This Ten of Cups is absolutely gorgeous. And this Wheel of Fortune is incredible. So this is the Ghosts and Spirits Tarot by Lisa Hunt. This is a mass market deck, but it's printed by Arcana Sacra, which is a French publisher, and it's the Oracle de Camille et Yokai. It's so beautiful, and I mean, look at these bags. Look at them. There's so much poetry in these drawings. So these cards are amazing. I really love them. They're kind of long, as you can see, for my small hands, so very difficult to shuffle practically in any way. I can only overhand shuffle them this way, which is not my favorite way, to be honest, but it doesn't matter. This deck is a recent acquisition, but I've been looking at it for a long time. I think I saw it immediately when it was published. It is just so beautiful to me because I love Japan and everything that is related to Japanese lore and culture. And this is the Oracle of Kami. Kami is the in the concept of the Shinto, Kami is the spirit of things, and Yokai is a name that refers to also to spirits, but in particular they are haunting spirits, so we normally translate that as ghosts, and they are incredibly beautiful. The artwork is it reminds me of a bit of a stylized manga. It is beautiful because it combines a masterful line work with a really good choice on the color palette. There are some differences. Some cards have pastel colors, for example. Others have really brilliant, really vivid and vibrant colors. Others are more muted. Look at this card. Dokuro no Kai. That's just... I think some of these cards, it does come with a guidebook, which I'm really grateful for, because as you can see here, it only tells you the name in Romaji, in our own alphabet, and then in Japanese writing, kanji, which is great, Yuki Onna, but obviously I don't know all of these Kami and Yokai, and therefore the booklet really helps you and it tells you the story behind them. It pairs well with a number of tarot decks that I've got, and once I'll know more about this oracle, once I'll know more about all these characters, I'll be able to show you some pairings as well. As you can imagine, it pairs really well with the Yokai Yochi, being the same kind of theme. But it pairs well with others too. I mean, you obviously look at the aesthetics here, and looking at the aesthetics is the main reason why this deck is here today, because it is one of my top, 10 most beautiful decks. Look at this card. So this is the Oracle de Camille et Yokai, published by Arcana Sacra. So just to stay in the same kind of theme, this is the Hokusai Tarot by Maestro Osvaldo Menegazzi, and it's been published by Il Meneghello in Italy. This is a limited and numbered edition. It's my number is 230 out of 250. So I honestly don't know if they still have it in stock. I will put the link to the Il Meneghello website in the description box below, just for you to have a look if you want to get a copy. I hope that they're not sold out. This deck is just stunning. But it's obviously just for collection purposes. I don't use it, even though as you can see, it's got imperfection, it's got flaws, and the reason why is because it's been cut by hand. I cherish this deck. I bought it together with a really dear friend of mine, and we just gushed over this deck. It is, as you can imagine, based on prints by Hokusai, Master Hokusai. And sometimes I think about just, you know, taking these and framing them, because it's also not small. You can see I can't handle it. It's a majors only, which, you know, of course, do I wish there were more cards? Of course, who doesn't? But I appreciate it because it is meant to be a work of art, and, you know, fair enough. There's only 22 of these, so it's fine. It follows the, but I want to say it follows the traditional RWS, but then again, because it's inspired by paintings by Hokusai, it's kind of derived from there. The colors, the line work, the art style, everything is incredibly beautiful about this deck. So this is the Hokusai Tarot by Osvaldo Menegazzi, published by Il Meneghello. The next deck I want to show you, it's a very underrated deck. I don't know why, but I don't see this deck much. I don't see it on Instagram, I don't see it on Facebook for sale or trade, I don't see it on YouTube. I don't know why, because it's one of the most beautiful decks I've got. Obviously, otherwise it wouldn't be here. It's the Lost Forest Tarot by Chelsea Santamaria. I know that it's out of print. However, I believe that she's reprinted the majors, and she's still selling them in her Etsy shop. And, you know, so I'll put the link in the description box below, but I just wanted to point out how beautiful the artwork is, and I'm a sucker for this kind of color combination. I'm a very visual person, so anything that appeals to me because it's got the right kind of colors that I like, it's already in my good books. And then if you look at the artwork, if you look at the choice of this, the way to depict the cards themselves, it's just incredibly beautiful. It talks about this lost forest, this world, and you feel like you're part of this world when you look at these cards. And it's a world that can be a little bit scary, of course. There's so many emotions. One of my favorite sun cards, probably because this type of branches reminds me a lot of Hokusai work, so Japanese paintings. I've talked about this deck before. The most interesting thing is that the minors, they line up as if it were a landscape painting, one after the other, but they do so by still retaining the meaning of the cards. So for example, here we've got the 7 and the 8 of Earth, and you can see that it's basically a continuation in the landscape of a painting. It is not an easy deck to read, I will be completely honest with you. I actually don't really use it for readings. I think that in my case specifically, this one is I use it for ancestral kind of work, because it does have that kind of it takes you beyond the veil. It still does communicate to me. It's look at this card. The Suit of Oceans is just fantastic. It is my favorite color is blue, so obviously anything related to water will be my favorite. But then, of course, when you find a card that is this cute, it's even better. This is the 8 of, well, technically of Oceans, but it's the 8 of Water, and with an octopus here, just, you know, leaving. This to me, I think is my favorite 8 of Cups, but if it's not, it's because Anatolian's 8 of Cups is probably my favorite, but this is a close second. And it depends on my mood. Sometimes this is a number 1. So as I said, I really don't know why. Probably because it's not an easy deck to read, fair enough. But it's such a beautiful deck. I really don't know why it's not shown more often. But here I am showing it. Got the Phoenix. So this is the Lost Forest Tarot, and it's by Chelsea Santamaria. The next deck is kind of a, I feel like everyone would probably choose this deck to be in this particular hashtag, because the artwork is just out of this world beautiful. It's by Stephanie Puy-Monlau and Barbara Moore, and it's the, well, this is the Dutch edition of the Shadowscape Tarot. The reason why I have the, not the Dutch, sorry, the Czech edition. The reason why I have the Czech edition is because it's the cards are larger, and well, it's gilded. Not that would have been my choice, but mostly because the cards are larger than any other edition. Because I looked into the French edition as well, and they're as small as the English edition. You want the Czech edition, trust me. Yes, you have to learn Czech because obviously the titles are in Czech, the book is in Czech, although we all have Google Translate nowadays, so it's not that difficult. But the reason why you might want this edition is because with this kind of artwork, you want it as big as possible. I mean, seriously, if they did like an even bigger one of this deck, I would buy it for sure. It's so beautiful. It's like it's not even, I don't know, you feel every single card, you go, oh my god, and then there's another one, and then another one, and then another one. It's just every single one of them. It's very rich in symbolism, which I really like. It follows the traditional RWS, which is really helpful because I have the Czech edition. I don't speak Czech, so at least I can recognize the cards when I see them. That's a really beautiful emperor, by the way. It is the kind of deck that it's a once in a lifetime. The contrast in the colors is just memorizing. There is a lot of foxy kind of energy, I believe, that comes out not just in the suit of wands, but in other suits as well. Therefore, I always pair it with the Kitsune Oracle, the Foxfire Oracle, by Lucy Cavendish, and they pair up really, really well. That's so beautiful. I mean, seriously, this deck, I could just look at it for hours. As I said before, it is out of this world beautiful. Not my favorite three of swords, but that's okay. It is rather traditional. I mean, it's not. That was a stupid thing to say. It's not traditional, but the symbolism in the cards is traditional. So it's really not difficult to read if you're scared by the title. I mean, look at this hermit. Of course, it's got the lamp. It's looking up. You know, climbing on a mountain, on a cliff top. I just look at these cards and I just feel like looking at them and, you know, talking about them, admiring them, look at the small details. Absolutely stunning, stunning deck. Absolutely. So this is the Shadowscape Tarot by Stephanie Puy-Monlau and Barbara Moore. How many times have I been showing this deck already? So you know that I'm a sucker for Anna Turian's work, and I have shown this deck many times before in my channel. It's no presentation. It's just one of the most beautiful decks I've got. It's here for a reason, but I had no doubts. I think it was my first pick whenever I was thinking, oh, which ones are my top 10? We all know this deck. no, I understand that not everyone likes it, or maybe there is, you know, the recognition of the artwork and the mastery that goes beyond creating something like this, but it's not everyone's cup of tea, which is perfectly understandable. This is totally Gandalf. But it is an incredibly beautiful deck. I will never get tired of looking at it. I will never get tired of, look at this death card, reading with it, and look at this devil card. It is amazing. And I've talked about this for quite some time before, so I'm not gonna, you know, spend too much time on it, any more time on it, but it just makes me happy that this tarot deck is in my collection. So beautiful. So it's the Bonestone and Earthflesh Tarot by Avalon Cameron, illustrated by Anna Torian. I wasn't sure about this deck, and I'll show you why. So this is the Meraki Tarot. It's the second edition by Bouchette Design. So the aesthetics of this deck are simply stunning. It's gorgeous. There's absolutely no, when you look just at aesthetics, there's absolutely no hesitation for me to include this deck into this hashtag, this video. The reason why I did hesitate a bit was because of the cardstock. It's the kind of rose petal that, you know, it makes it so that it's difficult to separate the cards. And to me, that's generally a deal breaker. However, whenever I look at this deck, I don't know. I feel like just, you know, I feel better. It's one of those decks that makes me feel better whenever I look at it. The artwork, the colors, the animals. I'm an animals person. It's just so soft, but it's also a work of art. There's no two ways around that. It belongs here. Look at this fox. That's a 9 of Pentacles. Look at contentment. It's just beautiful. I can't, you know, I cannot not include it in this video because it is aesthetically unbelievable. And you know, I've had decks with this particular kind of cardstock before, and I have noticed that the more you use them, the easier they get to overhand shuffle and fan. So, you know, hopefully with time, there's the 4 of Cups, beautiful. With time, it will get easier to use it. So this is the Meraki Tarot, the second edition by Bouchette Design. And as always, we have an honorable mention. It's the Soul Trees Ascension deck. By Soul Tree Studio, I think, sorry. Alison Williams Yee. This deck is an indie deck, but if you have a look at Alison's website, you'll see that she often has a few sales on. So it's really worth to check it out because with the sale, it actually comes cheaper than a mass market deck. But the quality is of definitely fantastic quality. I just simply gush every time I see this deck. It's one of my favorites. She's got a few other decks in her website. The Ascension Edition is the one that I prefer among the Soul Trees decks, that Oracle decks that she has. I love everything about it. I love the contrast with the colors. I love the lines. I love the keywords. They resonate so much. It pairs up with a lot of my tarot deck, which is always a plus. It's gorgeous. It's stunning. Makes me very emotional. It's called the soul trees for a reason. It does touch your soul. I have noticed that, see the light, be the light. I've noticed that whenever I use it, whenever I feel called to use it, is because I kind of need the messages that it gives me. It's uncanny. It's really, this card has come up a lot in my readings lately. There's a message there. I really like it. It's just so beautiful. It is. It didn't make it in the top 10, but only because it had to be 10. So it's, you know, it's my honorable mention for today because it just deserves to be shown. It deserves to be looked at. It deserves to be used, to be cherished. And I'm very grateful that I have it in my collection. So this is the Soul Trees Ascension deck by Alison Williams Yee. So this is it for today. This was my top 10 or 11 most beautiful decks, tarot and oracle decks, indie and mass market decks. And thank you so much for watching till the end. If you like this video, please consider subscribing to my channel. More to come. Have a great day.